Hey everyone, welcome back to Aussie Homeschool Adventures. My name is Jo. Today I have my review of Masterbook's Math Lessons for a Living Education. Once again on level 2. So, if you haven't already, please hit subscribe and hit like on this video if you enjoy this kind of content. Let me know in the comments below if you're first time watching this, or if you've got any questions about what you're about to watch. Obviously once you've watched it would be really great. I'd love to hear from you. Otherwise, yeah, grab yourself a cup of tea or a coffee if you're one of those people. I'm really boring. I don't drink them. I only drink water and the occasional bit of soft drink like lemonade or ginger beer. So grab yourself a drink and yeah, cozy up. So I'm going to give you my thoughts and my feedback on using Masterbook's Maths Lessons for a Living Education as an Australian using it. So yeah, I've done a review just recently on their language lesson curriculum level 2. So I'll leave that linked in the description box below if you'd like to watch it as well. I share my thoughts on that one too. But the maths curriculum, we love it. Once again, I find it a really fun curriculum to teach, a really easy one to use. My kids really like it. They love the Charlotte Mason stories at the start of every week that introduces the concept and puts it into an everyday life perspective. So it's really good in that regard. Now, I've got some questions here that I will address just to cover over the subject area. So, the American content. Is it too American to use in another country or in Australia? I find there is more American content in the maths than in the English. The biggest difference we have is the imperial versus the metric system for our measurements. So that's not, and the money as well. So it's not a deal breaker for me. I find that it's easy enough to substitute or to switch things around. We still will read the story that week, and then I will sub in other activities from a different source that I have. I use Twinkle, which is a UK-based website that you can sign up to as either a free, and then they have a sliding scale of memberships. So I've paid and signed up for that, and I use it pretty much these days as my supplementary worksheets because they've got a great array of curriculum stuff on there that's both UK and Australian. So they have Australian content on there, and you pay a flat fee and then you can use whatever you'd like. I like that system in that I don't have to pay $7 for this sheet and $10 for this sheet or $3 for this sheet. I just pay that flat fee and then I can access 90% of the content depending on what level of membership you've signed up for. I've got their mid-range one, and that gives me access to everything that I need. So I use it to supplement with our metric system, so thermometers, money, measurements, things like that. But the actual maths itself, like using perimeter for an example, we've been learning perimeter in the level 2 books. It was really easy. We just substituted the 2 inches for 2 centimeters and did a straight swap that way to learn that same concept. Yes, it's not the same distance, I realize that, but the principle behind it, the mathematical principle, still is the same. And I didn't want to make it any bigger a number in that level to make it work better in regards to distance and space area. So it works well in that regard. My kids are getting the concepts, and that's what's important at their ages, I feel, is that concept, that underlying principle of the maths. So it's really good in that regard. The money, nickels and dimes, there's what my daughter this week's been working in the level 2 book, and they've been counting nickels and dimes, which is 5 and 10 cent coins. Here in Australia, we have a 5 and a 10 cent coin. We just don't call them anything else. It's a 5 cent piece, it's a 10 cent piece. We still count them by 5s and 10s. So once again, that principle is the same. It's just a different name. So we talk about the differences. Sometimes I'll sub in an activity, or I'll find pictures of Australian money to use that instead. So that's an easy swap to do. So we do that one in that regards. I haven't noticed too many other differences in the American department as of yet, because addition and subtraction is the same in every country. Multiplication, which we haven't gotten to, that's not in level 2 anyway, so that's not an issue. But addition and subtraction is the same. Time is the same. We tell time the same. So it's, yeah, No, I don't think that there's too much American content. It's not a deal breaker. There's lots of great sources out there that you could find to sub in some Australian money and measurement amounts. So, yeah. Is it enough? I feel that it is enough. I feel that the lesson length is perfect for my children. It takes us about 20 minutes to do a maths lesson by the time we read a story and do things like that. Let's go closer. So, yeah, we read the story, we work our way through the problems for the page that week. So, for example, let me just get to the page that we haven't done. So, lesson 8 here, we're starting off with a story about addition, double digit and single digit, and they explain it. And then they have a little example on the back page of the story. And then there's just one page of problems to do that relate to the topic that was mentioned in that story. So some sums to work out together, and then a clock, some time telling. So there's always a little bit of revision built into these lessons as well. So topics are never done once and then moved on. This is a spiral-based curriculum. So I find that it's really good in that regard, that it goes over things again and again and again. And the kids get that repetition without getting bored of the mastery style learning where they've got to do that one concept until they've mastered it and then they move on. I like the idea behind mastery, but at the same time I know that my kids get bored. So we like that spiral-based style learning. It works well for us. Yeah, so yes, I think it's enough. I think the lesson lengths are perfect, especially for a 7-year-old. It's a fantastic length. It's long enough to hold their attention. My oldest used it last year and she loved it. My youngest is using it this year and she loves it. They both love their numbers, so it's really good in that regard. Numbers come easily to them. They've got their father's brain in that regard, not mine. I find that there's enough there for me as a teacher. They also offer, that I'm going to be purchasing in the next little bit, a teacher's companion which has other help and supportive ideas. So if you're not confident in maths and teaching, I would recommend getting that extra supplement to help you with the teaching of the concepts. But I haven't needed it yet, but we're heading into grade 3 for my oldest, so I'm kind of feeling like I want that bit of extra help now with the teaching of maths, because maths is not my strong suit. But I haven't hit any brick walls yet, so fingers crossed we'll keep going okay. Grade level accuracy. I feel that it is pretty much on par with what the kids are learning to what they should be learning. I've never put my kids in a state school, so I don't have a comparison point to, oh, they should be covering this in grade 3 or grade 2, content. I have looked at the national curriculum. I can't recall, but I know that it's more or less on par with what they should be learning. There might be a couple of things that aren't covered in this that are covered in the national curriculum, but they get covered later in this curriculum. I don't feel that that's an issue for us. It might be an issue for you if your kids are planning on returning to school at some point. My children at this point don't have any plans or desires to go to school. But if you want your kids to go to school, then in primary school years, it might not line up and it's close enough for you. I don't know. Retention. I feel that the retention is there. There's enough. The spiral concept works well in that regard because they're reintroduced to that same topic again, either that year or even the next year it comes back around and they are learning that same sort of thing again. There's always revision built in and it covers it off. So yes, the retention, I feel that it is there. It's a really great curriculum. We really enjoy using it. I find it's fun and simple. It's Charlotte Mason inspired. Once again, I wouldn't say that it was a Charlotte Mason curriculum in its true form. If you're a purist, I'm not. Never have been a purist on most things. I'm always happy to be a bit of a bitzer. But I love the little story at the start of the week that gives it a real life application to this math principle and concept. It gives it a concreteness to it, I guess, a hardness, a reality check. Oh, okay, so I can use that maths in that aspect of my real life. rather than having this maths thing as this airy fairy up in the sky kind of thing that you're going, oh, what am I going to use that for in real life? So in that regards, yeah, I think it's really good. It's fun, it's easy to teach, it's short, which is great. There's not lots of busy work. They do have a Practice Makes Perfect books coming out now. I think the level 2 book is the one that they've brought out now. There's more levels coming out with it. So if you find that your child needs more practice in a certain area, that you can print off more practice sheets for it. If you are needing that extra practice to nail down a concept with your child. I haven't needed to yet, but then like I said, numbers come easy for my children. Your child, it might be different. So do what works for you and your children. I think that's about it. I really like it. I think it works really well for us. I find that it is enough. I don't feel like they're missing anything. I don't feel the need to supplement the maths program with anything extra. The only supplementation we do for mathematics is Prodigy, which is an online computer game that's maths based. So they play battles and they battle by answering maths questions. And you can set the questions up as the teacher and make sure they align with what you're learning in school that week. So that's a really fun way of doing that. And we don't do that all the time. Depends on what's happening with it. But we do use Prodigy as a reinforcement, revision, supplementary kind of bit. But apart from that, that's all we use as supplementary, like I said. Yeah. So we really enjoy it overall, like I said, and it's lots of fun, easy to use, a great curriculum with a great godly worldview, whilst it's not in your face, especially in the maths program, which means it's good if you're not a Christian, but you still want to use this style book. I don't think you'd find it as an issue particularly, especially like in the maths. They do talk about God obviously in there, and he is mentioned definitely. But if you were not wanting that, I'm sure you could change it to suit your family and still use the maths part of it. But apart from that, yeah. But I love that. That's something for me as a Christian. I find that it's really nice to have that even in our maths curriculum, that we can still talk about God. So that's it. That's my thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that was helpful and useful for you. If you've got any questions about it, leave them in the comment section down below. I'll be happy to answer them for you. Otherwise, like I said, if you haven't already, please hit subscribe, turn the bell on so that you get notified whenever I post a new video for you. And give this video a thumbs up if you've enjoyed the content, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!